The Whitney Reynolds Show is supported by the Gorilla Tango Theater.
Hi, I'm Whitney Reynolds, and coming up in today's show, we're talking about paying it forward. We hear this phrase a lot in books, movies, and headlines, but what does it mean? Today's guests are an example of the concept and how it's different depending on the person.
66 million girls around the world don't have the opportunity to attend school.
Every community has something to offer.
You help people and have fun.
You're watching The Whitney Reynolds Show. Some might know her as the Cubs manager's wife, but Marie Whitney is her own person. After a life-changing trip to an AIDS orphanage in Africa, she founded Two Penny Blue with the dream of using fashion and design to educate and empower girls around the world. Two Penny Blue is a collection of luxury jackets, all American made. For every jacket purchased, a school uniform is donated to a girl in Africa. Let's welcome Marie Whitney.
Hi, Whitney.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us about your life-changing trip to Africa.
Sure. In 2007, my husband and I had the opportunity to travel to South Africa, and we visited schools and communities that had been hit really hard by the AIDS epidemic. And we were able to see firsthand just how badly some of these schools and communities needed help. And also, we saw firsthand just how much these kids wanted to learn, and they just didn't have the resources that they needed.
So when you were there, did you develop a personal relationship with just one child or many?
So when we were there, we had the opportunity to really go into the schools and the communities, and we played soccer with them, and they had created these elaborate welcoming songs for us, and we were singing and dancing. We just had the greatest time, and you really get to see them for who they are, which is they're just kids who want to learn, just like kids in the U.S. and every other kid around the world, and so it was really amazing.
So you got home and you started your business. How did you decide to add this component where you give a uniform away?
I knew after we sort of got home that I definitely wanted to do something with a focus on global education. I also recently had my son, and as a mother, I just saw that it was so important for him, education and having access to that. And I just felt like every child deserves that, regardless of gender or their socioeconomic situation. They deserve the same exact opportunity. So I really wanted to incorporate that. And it was a line of jackets and blazers. And when I was in school, I wore a jacket or blazer. And so I thought it was just a really great tie-in to donate a school uniform to a child in need. And also, for some kids in Africa, school's actually free, but they can't attend because they can't afford a school uniform. So for a lot of girls, this is their chance at getting into school.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you mentioned girls. Why did you choose to directly impact girls in school?
So 66 million girls around the world don't have the opportunity to attend school, and 26 million in Africa alone. So the numbers are just so staggering. It's really pretty unbelievable. Also, educating a girl in need is the single most effective tool we have for combating global poverty, and that's according to the UN, it's according to the World Bank. The data is really, really strong. And so when you educate a girl, the likelihood that she contracts HIV or AIDS decreases threefold. The opportunity she has for income increases up to 25%. And she's definitely going to have a smaller, healthier family in the future. So it has a huge impact.
That's an interesting concept because that trip, you went to these AIDS orphanages and also the education factor. So you really were able to help out both of those with the blazer concept.
Yeah, so it's really a win-win, and in part because when you educate a girl, not only do all these amazing things happen for her in her life, but that she really, really goes back and helps her community, and she helps other people sort of battle global poverty as well. So it's just such a win-win for everybody.
That's so interesting. I'm sure a lot of our viewers at home are able to relate with this, especially with the education factor.
Absolutely.
So many of us, we had an education growing up, and that's what got us to where we are today.
Exactly.
And you saw a need there.
Absolutely. There's a huge need. The numbers, again, it's almost overwhelming. There's so many, but we felt like, this is something that we can do that's going to have an immediate positive impact. And again, you educate one girl and then it just opens the door, and the communities literally change and it transforms so many lives. It's fantastic.
When so many people give back, they don't always get to see the immediate benefits. Yeah. Tell us what it's like to see these uniforms get dropped off.
Yeah, so for us it's really wonderful because we have a fantastic relationship with all the schools that we work with. And so we're able to watch these girls learn and grow, and you see their self-esteem increases, they become empowered, and suddenly the whole trajectory of their lives changes. And they suddenly say, I could be anything. I can be a doctor now. And suddenly things like, wow, I might be able to go to college. And it's just so incredibly wonderful. And it's just, for us, it's an honor to be a small part of that.
What is one specific story that you think of whenever you think about these girls over in Africa? One that maybe leaves you inspired, that can inspire our guest out there?
Yes, sure. I think for me, it's we've had a few girls who are orphans. And so when you think about, they really have no support whatsoever. They have no family, and they don't have any opportunities for education at all. And so, it's hard for anybody to learn and go through schooling process, but to do that with no mother or father or anybody, and so inspiring to see what's possible and how excited they are and how confident they are. And if they can do it, we all need to get behind them and help.
Paying it forward can have a chain reaction. You help out one person and they pay it forward as well.
Absolutely, and we see that so much with girls and women. I mean, we really believe in women helping women, and we're so inspired by these girls who, even though they might go off to university or travel and maybe take a job someplace else, they always want to come back to the community that they were born and raised in and help other women. And that to me is so incredibly inspiring.
How many uniforms have you given away thus far?
Sure, about close to 1,000 so far, which has been really great. And the line has only been launched a little bit less than a year. So we're really excited to see it expand and grow and sort of help as many girls as we can.
And see the domino effect when it comes to paying it forward.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Marie, for coming on. We wanted to test this pay it forward concept, so let's take a look at this week's Social Sizzle. Well, today we've been talking about the concept Pay It Forward, and we're here at Brothers K Coffee, and I'm joined by Dex. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome to Brothers K.
So the concept of Pay It Forward is really all about doing a good deed and not knowing that you're going to get anything in return.
Excellent.
Now, an example of this would be me buying coffee from you and then saying, hey, let's buy it for the person behind me, but no recognition involved.
Okay.
How often do you see this play out here at the coffee shop?
We see it happen every once in a while, but we also see sometimes where a husband might buy it for their wife and they don't know, or a friend will buy it for another friend or a regular. So we do see it sometimes.
When you do see it, because you're behind the counter, you know, a lot of people, part of it is not getting any recognition.
Right.
Whenever you see the face of the person that the coffee was bought for, what is their expression?
It's like a little kid when they open a Christmas gift, It's like, oh, wow, really? Is this serious? It's pretty great.
So it can really be something little that makes such a big difference.
Absolutely.
Have you seen any other Pay It Forward concept here at Brothers K?
Sometimes a newspaper, if someone's done with it, they'll offer it to us and say, hey, I barely read this, if there's someone else who might like it. So we actually started a newspaper bin so that you could pick up other people's read newspapers. So that's a small but cool thing.
Well, that is great. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and grab my cup of coffee. And let's go ahead and do it for the person behind me and see it.
I love it.
And see it play out.
Okay, thank you.
Small coffee, please.
Oh, actually, the person who was right before you bought this for you.
Oh, thanks.
Enjoy.
Our next guest is paying it forward for our freedom. Captain Toyin Hines is the Family Life Chaplain and 405 Brigade Support Battalion Chaplain in the Illinois Army National Guard. She performs emergency religious support to casualties and survivors of traumatic incidents along with counseling. She served as the Wounded Warrior Chaplain and received numerous awards including Army Achievement Medal and the NATO Medal for Kosovo. Thank you, Chaplain Hines, for coming on.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Paying it forward for our freedom. Have you ever looked at it that way?
I don't think I have ever perceived it that way. My own personal experiences in the military only have to do with serving those service members who lay down their lives every day for our freedoms and among other things. But really, it's just about giving back to a community that I love and appreciate so very much.
So going to that concept of paying it forward, our military, do you consider them paying it forward?
I think every day service members pay it forward, no matter what branch of service that you're in. There is something about knowing that at any given point in your military career that you can be deployed. At any given point in your military career, you can be called off for domestic operations, which we've experienced in our country over the past few weeks. And so I think it's just it's a profound. I guess I live in a profound reality as I'm working with service members as they continue to do it without giving thought to paying it forward. It's just that natural part of them in their service to the community.
What made you join?
I joined the military during my college years, partly because I felt I needed a little bit more discipline in my life. Another part was to assist with paying for my college career. At the time, I didn't think, well, that was 19 years ago now. I didn't think I would be in it this long. But I think my passion for staying had to do with giving back to the community that I fell in love with. The military community becomes like a family. These are my brothers. These are my sisters. We have this common bond. Common experience, and we serve side by side. And so my reasons for joining are very different from my reasons for staying. And so I love it so very much. People often ask, will you stay past your 20? I'm like, I definitely will, because I'm able to work with service members in a way that's relatively unique. And as I see them wrestle through life, celebrate some wonderful moments, come back from deployments, reuniting with their families. Even some of the service members that I work with who are wounded warriors, just seeing that level of resilience and always wanting to give back, always wanting to bond with their brothers and sisters in the community. That's why I stay, because I love that part of that resilience and the sticking to it that service members have.
So you gave us a couple of examples, but what is one story that really sticks out in your mind of just the paying it forward, seeing it just in real life for you?
You know, I think there are many stories, but I'll give you a common scenario. I work with lots of commanders and leaders who in their own lives have different sets of realities. They go through so much. As a National Guardsman, we have our both civilian and our military career, so there's a balance to what we do. And I think that every time I train with those leaders and the way that I see them embrace their service members, their soldiers, and how they care for them in spite of what they're dealing with and going through, and service members are then able to see that their leaders care, and they're able to do the same for each other. So there's this constant ebb and flow of they're giving to me, and now I have the opportunity to give. And I don't think we ever see it as paying it forward. Some of us might call it leadership. Some might call it, again, a family, the military community. This is what we do. But that common scenario is what I'm often seeing in the military, and not just at lower levels, but I mean it's through the National Guard, specifically in Illinois, because that's where I work most. I see it quite often.
Wow, you know, that's really fascinating, because you were like, this is what we do.
This is what we do, yes.
So what can our viewers at home do? I know when I'm at the airport and I see someone in their military uniform, an easy thank you. You know, how far does that go?
It goes a long way. And I think for some service members, the response is, I volunteer for this. I do this because I love it. But that level of appreciation pushes you a little bit further. It reminds you that the community is involved with you. And I think that's most important, to know that you have support around you. Not just within the military culture and system, but outside of it, that there are people who stand in support for you sacrificing time with your family, for you sacrificing time away from your employer if you're a National Guardsman, all of those things. The commitment to be a quality leader, a person of integrity, it says thank you goes a long way for us, I believe.
What's something else that other people can do?
There are organizations and partnerships out there within communities. I've seen some time ago we participated in a 5K for Wounded Warriors. Wounded Warrior Project was engaged in it along with some other organizations. Just really looking into what your community provides and offers around. For service members, any veteran who's currently serving or who has served. I think that's the most effective way. Every community has something to offer. I think that if you just research that out and you're diligent about it and supporting, you'll find something that fits your personality, I think, and then you'll find a way to really give back to the military folks.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and serving for our country.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Well, we wanted to find out how and why you serve, so we took it to the streets of Chicago. Let's take a look at this week's Chicago Central.
When I first graduated college, I worked at University of Chicago Children's Hospital as a dietitian, actually, and I was very involved with the kids who had cancer and cystic fibrosis in particular, and I worked with a lot of the kids and just got involved in charity events, and to me there's no more gratifying feeling than seeing the look of happy children, so that's how I think I pay it forward, and I continue to do so to this day.
How do you pay it forward?
I work for Triton College, and I'm the Dean of Students there. And what I do is I've started off a male mentoring program for young minority men. So I feel it's important for them to see people that they can be, and that's how I pay it forward.
I pay it forward because I believe in karma. I believe that what comes around goes around. I think it's important for people to appreciate what they have and to be able to give to others, because some people are more fortunate than others, and I have 2 kids, and I think it's important to show them and teach them by words and actions how to pay it forward, by whether it's donations or financial contributions, whatever we can do, even if it's just our time during a holiday to go play games with some older people at Thanksgiving time, whatever it is, I think it's important for everyone to be able to do that.
I volunteered at Children's Hospital. I come to great events like this. I try to become as involved as I can. There's so many different opportunities in Chicago, and I work in this the service industry, and you meet so many great people, and hearing about all the things that they're involved in, how they're paying it forward, it's a shame if you didn't do that and become involved. I mean, there's so many great opportunities like this. There's so many fun things to do, and it's not just, oh, you have to go and do work or anything. It's fun.
How do you pay it forward?
Well, by getting involved with One Step at a Time camp, as both a counselor and at fundraisers like this, and then also just by volunteering my time with other organizations like this one.
Why do you pay it forward? Do you have something special to your heart?
Well, I actually went to One Step at a Time camp when I was a kid, and it changed my life. It's meant a lot to me, and so I feel the need to give back to not only this organization, but others like it.
How do you pay it forward?
Well, I am an elementary school teacher, so I feel like I am paying it forward every day with helping these kids. And so, but I also, on top of that, I like to give back as much as I can, whether it be time or money, to different organizations. So.
How do you pay it forward?
I make people pay it forward. When you're 6'4", 250 pounds, you just tell them, hey, I need you to help this cause. And it's pretty easy when you're this tall and big, but it's nice to give back. And I teach my kids the same thing, and they're learning the lesson.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Well, our next guest is an example that there's no age limit when it comes to paying it forward. We have an 8-year-old philanthropist, Nick Curley, and Tom Stanton with the Danny Did Foundation. Welcome to the show, you two.
Thanks.
Now, Nick, you have a special tie with the Danny Did Foundation because you did a big thing for them. Tell us about the 100-mile skate.
Well, I thought about, I was thinking about helping someone at the time, and I was thinking of hockey. I don't know why, too. Oh yeah, there was a hockey game on. And so I just thought of my 2 favorite things to do, help people and have fun. So that's how I thought about doing the skate.
At 8 years old, you love to help people. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, when I started skating, my parents thought it was a good idea, but they thought I would want something after I finished. But my mom told me this.
So they thought that you would want something in return for doing a good deed.
Mm-hmm.
So you decided that you wanted to skate and raise money for the Danny Did Foundation.
Yes.
Now, Tom, you're with the Danny Did Foundation. Tell us whenever you first met Nick, what it was like.
Well, we've known Nick's family for a long time. We grew up in the same neighborhood as his dad, and my nephew Danny is the namesake of the Danny Did Foundation. He died from a seizure just before his 5th birthday in December of 2009, and the Curleys were very supportive from the very beginning of our cause. Our mission is to prevent deaths caused by seizures. Nick's own cousin, Jenny, has epilepsy as well. She lives in Virginia. So Nick knew of epilepsy through his cousin, and then he found out our story after Danny passed away and decided they wanted to be helpful, and he obviously did it in a very big way.
So tell us about this big way. What did you decide to do?
Well, first I wanted to raise money for them. First, started off with telling everybody and donating like maybe $10, basketball camps. And then when this wasn't anything like it. It was bigger.
Ooh, this year? Or was it
last year?
Okay. You decided to raise the bar and really do something big. So what did you do?
I skated 100 miles.
Skated 100 miles. And did you complete it? Did you do it?
Yes.
How much money did you raise for the Danny Did Foundation?
A little under $40,000.
A little under $40,000. I love what you were saying earlier when you said, your parents said, do you want something at the end of this? But you didn't?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. I felt I didn't really want anything in return anyway, but felt like I already had my return, having fun.
You know, that I feel is like one of the main concepts of paying it forward, is doing it and not thinking or knowing something's going to come back to you. Now, with this foundation, do you see people paying it forward a lot?
Absolutely, all the time. In fact, one of the great results of Nick's campaign has been that we've gotten to know families that need our help because they saw Nick's story. And then they've subsequently come and helped us in different ways. So it's really kind of been a cycle of paying it forward. Nick has raised more money as a 3rd grader than any other individual has in the history of our foundation. So it's pretty incredible what he's done. He's skated with Hall of Fame hockey players. He skated with hockey teams. He skated at Soldier Field with the Chicago Wolves. So he's taken it all in stride, no pun intended. And he's been a really selfless advocate for us the entire time.
What was your favorite moment in raising the money? Was it finishing the 100-mile mark? Was
yes.
it? Oh, it was. So how did that feel?
It felt great. It felt like I just finished something that if I was a little younger, I would feel like I never could have done.
Wow, that's so impressive. And people, other children that you go to school with, have seen what you've done and have decided to pay it forward as well.
Yes.
Give us some examples.
My friend from hockey, his sister decided to have a bake sale for Danny Did.
It's a chain reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had another skate in Chicago where almost 100 kids came out and skated with him. And were a part of the 100-mile skate, which was really neat to see. Tommy Hawk from the Blackhawks was out there, and he really started something special because of his desire to get involved.
Well, thank you both for coming on. Where can people find out more about the foundation?
The best place would be our website, which is dannydid.org, and our Facebook page, facebook.com, DannyDid, and we're also on Twitter as well.
Okay, well, thank you both for coming on.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you've grasped the concept of paying it forward. It's simple, folks. One good deed at a time. For more information on today's show, go to thewhitneyreynoldshow.com.
A special thanks to ECTV, K-Page Salon, STI Movers, Celebrity Skin, KS Style Consulting, and STEMS. The Whitney Reynolds Show is supported by the Gorilla Tango Theater.